Welcome back. This is our newsroom conversation right here on Morning Express. It is 22 days before the repeat presidential election. And as a country prepares for this election, the role of the media cannot be underscored, especially in forming public opinions ahead of the election. There has been issue taken with the kind of political analysts media houses have been inviting to debunk some of the issues going on in the country, something the Kenya Film Classification Board has heavily weighed in on, saying there needs to be vetting of any political analyst that goes on air. So we'll be opening our phone lines in just a moment for you to give us your thoughts and views. Remember, our hashtag is also Morning Express KTN. We'll also be sampling your thoughts there. But for now, let's hear from Ezekiel Mutua, CEO of the Kenya Film Classification Board, on the same. Because a lot is being said by Julie and Eric in terms of accepting the situation, in our country as is, and letting people express themselves, not running away from the issues at hand. But you have been rather vocal on social media, in terms of hate speech, in terms of blocking people who say certain things. So how can you allow these people again to come on air and say the same on mainstream television? Your thoughts on that?
Actually, my blocking people is actually part of my moderation and providing guidelines. There are things I don't allow on my platforms.
Right.
And you say that, and I delete. That's my right, and I believe as a responsible Kenyan, and that platform is mine, I should block anybody who brings insults or demeans people. And it's not just about me, actually. If you say something negative about another person on my platform, I will delete.
What did Eric?
I think that's... Well, no. Don't mind Eric. He's a friend.
He was blocked as well.
I used to be the Secretary General. I used to hold the seat where he is. And I think that they're historical issues. But that should not be taken to be personal.
Right.
I'm not interested in being Secretary General of KUJ anymore. And I think... But talk about the platforms, because he also has... he's on Twitter, he's on Facebook. I think it's your right. If you don't agree with that, it's your right to block it. And it's not personal. We are not enemies. And I think that's what we need to do as media houses. And the reason why I'm calling for the development of guidelines by professional bodies, and we are leading as KFCB in this crusade, is because also media houses are aligned, and they have aligned themselves to certain political ideologies. And in other countries, people or media houses actually do declare that we are supporting NASA or we are supporting Jubilee, and their position is known. In this country, you are not known where you stand. Right. Yet, we can see the line, and you're not going official with it. So we can't trust media houses to develop the guidelines themselves. I think KUJ, Media Council, KFCB, Communications Authority, NCIC, we should come together. And no agency or organization should work in isolation or in silos. I think we should work together and then bring in media owners and editors guild and together develop these guidelines. Because this election, we are hoping it will be over on 26th, but it could be prolonged, God forbid, but it's also not the last election. We are going to have other elections. Right. So let us promote responsibility. And we will not run away, Eric, from the issue of responsibility. When I was the Secretary General of KUJ in 2001, we had a similar scenario. The media houses were saying, no, we don't want government regulation. We can regulate ourselves. And they were arguing the same way, and I was sitting where Eric was, and I understand him, because I was using the same language, that we don't want government to come in. We would never run away from this, I can tell you. We even ended up with a media council then that was self-regulating, had no legal basis, and in 5 years, that thing was not effective. Right. We had to get the Media Act in place in 2007 and come up with the Media Council Act. Now, that provided some legal basis, because the argument was, what is the need of having a media council that has no teeth to bite? If you want to penalize a journalist who has committed an offense or a media house, and there's no law backing that, where could you go? And I think this is the same scenario that is panning up. As we enjoy these freedoms with the Constitution and with the expansion of media houses, we will not run away from responsibility. Because I tell you, Michelle, the problem in Kenya right now is not freedom of the media. It's responsibility. If we can work on that more, because people are free. You can say anything you want. We have so many media outlets, and people are free. It's about now responsibly using these platforms to ensure that we promote peace and development in the country.
Listening to Mutua, I think, like I said before, that we should treat what Mutua is saying as a feedback, as a consumer of media content. Because I think we, like I've said again, we have regulations that actually were revised to make sure that they are up to date. That
So are they working?
Yes, they are working. The
Really?
issue is our society. It's because if you invite this, because right now in Kenya, political analysis is now being a career.
Right.
People are now creating career out of political analysis. So somebody will come and actually will agree that actually this is the topic and this is how we want this conversation, the direction this conversation will take. But out of that, like out of somebody wants to create a career, then these people sometimes they deviate. And I say it like it should now be treated as an issue of quality control in the media houses, whereby the producers and the editors and the hosts are now supposed to steer the debate in a manner not likely to cause or maybe incite people to violence, like you are saying.
Yeah.
So what we would not need, because if you start talking about vetting, basically what we are now trying to introduce regulation through the back door. Because once you've started that, then after 2 or 3 years and knowing the government very well, then what will be, we want now to start regulating.
Eric, do you mind, you have made a very fundamental statement.
Exactly.
Do you mind intervening? Then you can give more light. Because he has made a very crucial statement that political analysis is becoming a career.
It is.
That's exactly my point. For far too long, journalism was not taken as a profession. It was seen as a craft, a trade, where you come, as long as you have a microphone and a mouth, you are a journalist, as long as you have a notebook and a pen. And we had to come up with a code of ethics and for the practice of journalism.
Right.
With time, it could not go on like that. Now, Eric is actually answering our question that political analysis is becoming a career.
Right.
There cannot be a career without guidelines and without professional ethics. Lawyers have their own code of ethics. And there are boundaries. If you eat clients' money, you'll be penalized by LSK. There are structures to ensure that there's responsibility. And that's what we are saying, Eric, that if we can work together, now that this field is developing, this is a new scenario, by the way, and it's a very good thing for the country and for democracy. But it cannot be allowed to go on without regulations, without guidelines. For instance, the issue of coverage of live coverage
rallies,
of
yes.
news, live transmission of issues or political rallies as they take place. And you've seen the danger. Anyone can say anything. Some of these politicians are dangerous. They're uncontrollable. And you just need to say something, and by the time you retrieve it or you correct as a media house, a lot of damage has been done. So what happens in other countries? They have gone ahead to invest in technology. And when you think the tensions are so high and emotions are so high, I think there is need even to withdraw some of this live coverage. Why would you want to cover a rally
I think I was
where politicians are going to make such unpalatable statements?
I was speaking on it. You already said that. And I think what we are taking, I think after this, I'll email you a copy of the guidelines that we're supposed to be using. Actually, it also addresses the issue of live coverage. And we agreed that in a situation where if there is a tension, the live coverage should be delayed by seconds or by a few minutes.
Yeah.
Those regulations and the guidelines are there. As I'm saying, we don't need again to start coming up with another
bureaucracy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Now that this is something that actually is developing, we should allow media houses to deal with the issue of quality, because people are saying that you're not giving us quality discussion. And I think that is an issue that the media houses can address without regulation. That's what I'm saying. So that Mutua can stick to his lane. Because we already have enough bodies and institutions that can deal with this issue. You stick to your lane, go and classify films as your mandate, of the mandate of the organization. That's what we are talking about.
We'll focus on quality control in a moment, but Ezekiel Mutua also pointed out the fact that it's no longer about the freedom of the media, but the responsibility of the media in this election. But you can't quite seem to agree right now on what the responsibility of the media is at this very particular time. Is it maintaining peace? Is it being objective and churning out the truth as it is? And sometimes the truth is not
objective.
It can be very divisive.
Exactly, and I think objectivity and truth are two separate things. And I think one good thing that has come out of this election cycle is that people have come out in their true colors, albeit on social media and behind the shadow of anonymity. What the media needs to do now is ensure that we're having a national conversation that is based in truth. I'm all for responsibility. Rights have limitations, obviously, and we should not get people who are coming on air to mislead people or misuse the platform for their own personal gain. But we should not get to the point where we are gagging Kenyans from speaking their mind, because these things are going to fester and they're going to erupt. We have seen it in 2007. 2013, we went overboard and preached the peace that essentially festered the wound even more. And now we find ourselves here where every time you log on to Facebook or Twitter, somebody is saying something hurtful, mean, and insulting. And when we come to on air, we're being so PC that we're not allowing these people to come out and say them in the open.
So you want them to bring the same bile on...
But it's also
no, what
very
I'm saying,
clear.
I'm saying when it comes to political analysis and experts who are coming to give you expert information and pack hard issues for you, we should definitely vet those people and get people who know what they're saying. On the other hand, people who want to come on air and express themselves in a manner that is responsible should be allowed to do so without having to go through red tape.
Julie, I actually agree with you.
And nothing,
what you said, I have nothing to add.
And nothing stops police or law enforcers from taking action against somebody who spread hates or even on a political talk show. That's what we're talking about. We already have all these scenarios. You can't come here and start inciting people to violence or start propagating for war. Then you go out there and then you say that, I was on TV, you can't arrest me. Nothing stops police from doing that.
And also, another thing is that, as I was saying before, Kenyans need to learn how to hear hard things and not react with violence.
Exactly.
There
are two levels, Michelle.
Just like you're able to block people on your social media, people who you don't like, they have a right to say what you don't like to hear.
Well, that's a different point. But there are two levels of this management of this news analysis. There is the level of criminology or crime that Eric is talking about. Right. That if I come here, there are things I can say that actually I should be arrested as I leave KTN studios. There's the other level of professionalism. This is a media house. We are journalists. We are supposed to uphold certain ethical standards. And we are supposed to commit the people who come to help us unpack issues for society to behave in a certain manner. If we allow this to be the theater of the absurd, where anybody can come and say anything, and then allow what Julie is saying, which I believe is dangerous, really, in my view, that what is going on in social media, the emotions, can be expressed right on TV, and we say that's who we are, and we should allow it. Let me tell you what happens. In my view, mainstream media cannot be the conveyor belt for social media. The absurdity that goes on where somebody says, just to attract traffic, 7 things you didn't know about Ezekiel Mutua, and the 5th one will shock you. Right. and then you are there trying to look for the 5th one.
90% of those people will not come on air.
What Julie
because they're hiding behind the shadow.
We are supposed to be more responsible.
We are.
What Julie is saying is very simple, and I agree with her. That what Mutua is saying, Mutua is now trying to tell us to start gagging people. Yes. And I think that I think it would be wrong for us to start here that we start gagging people. I think that's how we're supposed to be. Because, and like I said, that these people are now people trying to...
He's putting words in my mouth.
At the end of the day,
exactly, you're not using the word gagging, but exactly that's what
you're this one.
At the end of the day, Eric, because at the end of the day, shouldn't political analysts be emotionally disengaged and intellectually engaged for them to be able to debunk issues in a manner that does not really lean towards one political
Michelle,
side?
what is playing out here, especially with the people who have political minds like Eric, is the same thing that is happening. And I'm saying we should tone down that it's not about personal interest and political interest. Right. That we can't come here and agree on a thing because it thinks I'm allied to a certain political ideology. We should be able to look at this country as our country. And when we come to a platform like this, Michelle, take control. Take control or don't invite us.
Right. That is okay.
Right. Take control, let me have my say, and say it with decency and decorum.
And respect of our viewers
And respect of our viewers. But put the national good. And I should not appear here if I'm an irresponsible. Some of these analysts you are bringing, what are they experts for? You are calling them experts. Experts for what?
Well, then we'll be focusing on
where did they go to school? What is their experience? What are they good at? And these are the issues we are saying. Don't bring charlatans whose expertise is a big mouth.
I think we also need to moderate Mutua. This is how I'm looking.
Can I say my bit?
This is how I look at it.
Can I finish, Eric? I think there must be something we can say about Eric. That is here because he's the Secretary General of Kenya Union of Journalists. He's a practitioner. And you can even read out his CV.
So he's
you can
expert.
read mine. You are even addressing me wrongly. You should be able to know who you are inviting.
That one.
The Kenya, you pronounce it well and you do a background. Who is that guy who's coming to talk?
I believe that is what Michelle has actually done.
Do your background?
So what is your title, Mr. Mutua?
It's not about the title. What I'm saying is, before I come here to KTN, you should have done your research to know who I am. What are my political persuasions? What is my behavior? What am I likely to say that can jeopardize national? That's your responsibility as a media house. Right. That's what I'm saying. So that when I come here, I don't think it is, free for all. Anything goes. I will know that I am bound by certain rules of KTN and editorial policy to behave in a certain manner.
Right.
That's okay.
Let me just pause you there, Eric, just before we continue. I'll give you a chance. Let's just take a few calls from Mombasa. Charles is calling in from Mombasa. Charles, good morning. Your thoughts, very briefly, comment or question on our discussion this morning.
Naam, habari ya asubuhi.
Nzuri sana, endelea.
Ningependa sana kuomba hao wachambuzi kweli wanafanya Kenya inaungua kweli. Kusema kweli hao wachambuzi kuangalia wanaregelea upande mwingine ambayo si jambo ambalo inatuathiri Kenya sote. Awangalie kila mtu anavuta kwake. Ambao Mutua pia wadhibitiwe au wanasema Kenya huko juu mchomeka hapa chini kuna tutokota uso wa uchambuzi. Muangalieni wala mwafaa. Na Mutua naye pia adhibitiwe Mutua pia naye. Wakati mwingine pia anavuka mpaka. Kuna sehemu nyingine anaangalia sehemu nyingine. Ana msimamo yake kamili. Angalie upande zote hata kama huku na huku angalie. Sio akiona sehemu nyingine ndio anatoa kucha zake.
All right, asante sana. Asante sana. That is Charles calling in from Mombasa. Interesting thoughts there. Ezekiel Mutua will be addressing that in just a moment. We also have Josephat calling in from Tarbot. Josephat, good morning. Your question or comments, please.
Habari studioni.
Mzuri sana, endelea tafadhali.
Mimi nataka niseme hivi. Ada ya Mucha hunena muungwana ni kitendo. Wasomi wengi Kenya wamekuwa ni watu wenye wamekataa kufuata yale maneno ambayo sio mazuri kwa Wakenya. Hebu mfano, unapata mtu ni profesa. Kwa mfano wakati mtoto aliuawa huko Kisumu akapigwa risasi. Watu wa pande nyingine mlengo sasa imechukua watu wa opposition. Unasikia wakisema hawa Wajaruo hawa wanapenda sana vita. Unapata analyst wakati anakuja kwa studio naye anasema Wajaruo hawa wanapenda, badala ya kuongea neno na kuweza kusaidia Wakenya wote kwa pamoja. Hii ni mfano mwingine naweza kupeana kanisani. Kanisani upate mwanasiasa amekuja mpaka pale wakati ule wenzangu aligonga sijui ni mlingoti Nairobi. Watu wanafika kanisani wamehubiriwa vizuri na Bishop pale, baada ya dakika kidogo unapata watu wakianza matuzi. Huyu alikuwa ni mlevi akiendesha gari. Wale waumini wanapiga. Mchungaji yule anapiga makofi pale. Taswira gani ile tunaonyesha katika hiyo hali? Mbona mchungaji hauwezi kusema leo ama unyang'anye yule microphone umwambie tafadhali hapa ni kanisani? Na wananchi nikimalizia, sisi ndio tumekuwa wapumbavu. Mwananchi unapoona maneno kama haya yanafanyika, tuko na katiba inatuonyesha, ambia huyu kama ni mwanasiasa andamana, toa huyu mtu uongozini. Kwa hivyo hata ya Mucha unena muungwana ni kitendo. Wakenya tuwe wastaarabu na viongozi wa wastaarabu na watu wenye wamesoma Kenya. Isije tukaonekana shule ukiwa ni profesa kuwa profesa. Elimisa Wakenya kwa njia iliyo safi ndio tuweze kuendeleza Kenya yetu vizuri. Thank you so much, Julian.
Asante sana. That is Josephat calling in from Tarbo. We'll be addressing your comments in just a moment. We also have Ernest calling in from Homa Bay. Ernest, good morning. Your question or comment, please.
Good morning, Michelle and the entire panel.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the responsibility of the media. Before I do so, I'm a bit taken aback by the comments given by Ezekiel Mutua. I wonder how, Michelle, you would tell that Mutua would come to the studio and call fellow pundits, because he's a pundit right now, big mouth. So that's not easy to tell. So I think that he's double speaking. He should respect other pundits. And that's where the problem we have in this country. Leaders don't respect other leaders.
All right.
Now, on the point of responsibility of the media, I think this is a catch-22 for the media. Because I blame it on the media, but then again, it's a catch-22. Until the time when the media will delink itself from government, and this is what I mean. You don't rely on government advertisements. You don't rely on support financially from the government. We've reached that point. You will always pander to one side. And I don't know whether to blame you or not, I'm not sure. So you will invite the favorable, and when I mean favorable, those who will be siding with the government of the day. Until the time you will be independent. There was a time the media was the darling of Kenyans. Right now the judiciary has overtaken you. And there was a time I thought the judiciary was right down at the bottom. Now they're at the top. I'm hoping the media will come back up Those are my views. Thank you.
All right, many thanks. That is Anas calling in from Hobbe. We will be discussing that as well. And finally, let's take a call from Moha calling in from Malindi. Moha, good morning. Your thoughts and comments, please.
Okay. Ezekiel Mutua. Hello.
Yeah, Moha, if you could please reduce the volume of your TV set before we continue.
Okay, habari yako?
Mzuri sana, endelea.
Okay, mimi silaumu Ezekiel Mutua kwa haya. Sababu Ezekiel Mutua anatumiwa na serikali kuhujumu haki za wanahabari. Sababu kama sio wanahabari Kenya hii hatungekuwa na usemi vile wa Kenya wanavyosema. Na pia tusikue ni watu, sababu sheria kama vile Maraga juzi aliamua ile by election ifanyike. Vitu zisipofanyika upande wetu tunahujumu ile upande ambaye ni independent. Sasa tunahitaji media wapewe uhuru, sababu kuna election law changes pale kwa parliament, kuna ya media. Kesho pia tutakuwa kama ile wakati ya KANU ya kidole moja, tutaambiwa kila mahali tuende tukisema tuko pamoja. Tukue ambaye ni kuwe na uhuru kwa media, sema kenye wanataka chochote. Kama mimi nakubaliana na Barack Muluka, nakubaliana na David D, zile vitu wanazungumzia kama political analyst ni zile vitu ziko hapa kwa ground, kwa fikra ya watu. Sababu kivipi mwingine hawezi ongoza, ila ni watu fulani wanaweza ongoza miaka yao yote. So I agree with those political analysts. Let them brought there. Wacha kila mtu aongee vile anaongea, because those views are reflecting here on the ground, views of everyone here on the ground.
All right. Asante sana. That is Moha calling in from Malindi. We'll be addressing issues raised on all those calls in just a moment. For now, it's just about 3 minutes at the top of the hour. At this point, we have to release our viewers watching us on KTN Home because Life and Style is coming up next. But this conversation continues right now on KTN News. We have Ezekiel Mutua, who's had a lot of the questions directed to him. We'll be answering them in just a moment.